welcome back. Welcome to Thursday, April 23rd. Here is another Earnings Lottos Power Hour Live. I'm your host, Pete. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. As you know, for the next hour or so, we will be using earningslottos.com to find the best earnings movers that report this afternoon and tomorrow morning. Go ahead, take 30 seconds, sign up for a free account, send you a confirmation email. Then once you have that, you're into the deep dive. You can view everything that I'm looking at here, and you can play Earnings Pick'em with us. At the end of every quarter, whoever has the highest Earnings Pick'em balance will win a $50 Amazon gift card from yours truly. So without further ado, let's get into what we have reporting this afternoon and tomorrow morning. The only stock that I took yesterday was Molina, so MOH. I had the 180 call, and I can't remember my put because I don't care about it. But the 180 call paid for it. I think I sold around like 175, 176. So that paid for my put and just a little bit more. It wasn't as big of a banger as I was expecting. I didn't get URI or anything like that, but still a good earnings trade overall. So this afternoon we don't have too many, but we do have some really good opportunities that I like. So we will start with some of the higher yield scored stocks for this afternoon and then move into tomorrow morning. And if anyone watching has any questions about things that are reporting this afternoon, or maybe any other stocks, they don't have to be earnings stocks, feel free to throw them in the chat. I don't know why it says chat is disabled for this live stream. That's not good. Maybe I can fix that while I'm chatting here. But either way, I will go over all of the, I don't know why it says that. We'll go over all the stocks reporting. Yeah, I don't know why it says chat is disabled. It says it on my end, so I don't know if you can type. If you can't talk, I'm sorry. Let's do this. All right, so the first we'll look at is Max Linear, so MXL. Really good EL, or really good EL score on Max Linear. Not like in the 90s like Molina was, but pretty good. Anything over 60 is good, I think. So 67 for the EL score, $33 a share. That means a 10% move is going to push this to maybe 37. Or if it goes bearish, then you're looking at 30 or maybe 29. 5 out of the last 8 quarters, it has made a 10% move. So that's a pretty good metric. It's not the most expensive stock, but it stands out to me because of its high EL score and the fact that it can consistently make 10% moves. Narrative intel for MXL is pretty interesting. I always like these sleeper plays. Looks like they are expected to get pretty good numbers. 40% year over year is projected. They are in the semiconductor sector. And it looks like they also have data center interconnect adjacent. So semiconductor recovery play, 40%, like we said, 40% revenue growth signaling. This destocking is complete. It's also a data center interconnect. And the momentum there is the re-rate narrative. So like if anyone saw URI this morning, which I'm pretty sure everyone did because it went crazy. The reason it went crazy is because of data center build-outs and construction, the construction narrative there. So if that theme holds true, MXL could be a pretty bullish print. But we'll look at the strangles just in case, just to make sure that we're not kind of jumping in without looking at any information. 38 call popping up, it's 15% out of the money. That's pretty ambitious. And it's this is a pretty expensive contract, almost $3 a contract. Good volume over open interest. That shows immediacy, shows that traders were waiting to trade MXL on earnings. But the IV is really high. Actually, the IV is going to be really high on both of these. So the 32p is also popping up. This is probably a classic bot strangle. They're buying 38 call, probably buying the 32p. And that would make sense, I think, with a high EL scored stock because it consistently makes 10% moves. We just can't always predict exactly which direction it goes. The 32p is popping up. Really good volume over open interest. Look at that, 1,500, almost 1,600 contracts traded today, over 21 that were just chilling there on the chain. So it looks like to me that the downside is probably what traders are betting on more so than the call side. Just because the puts are cheap or closer to the money, they're a little bit pricier, and that volume kind of stands out to me. I would say if you do trade MXL, it's a good one for an earnings trade. The IV percentage is too high for me to get in, I think. But the downside does look better. It looks a little bit more appealing there. But if you do trade it, definitely strangle. Go heavier contract sized on the side that you like. So in this case, I like the put, so I would go heavier there. And then I would buy just enough on the call side to make up for my put position. So we'll look at VeriSign. VRSN is next. Looks like they are an operator of critical infrastructure within a domain system or DNS. Interesting. They direct DNS resolvers to the appropriate registry where IP addresses are stored. That seems like it's a pretty important piece of the internet infrastructure. I don't know if I've ever heard of VeriSign before. Current share price $270, no moves over 10% in the last 2 years. Kind of a poor EL score. I wonder what's bumping that up. Probably the share float. Yeah, so tiny float. That's giving it a little bump. And then it's got a good share price, so it gets a bump for the score there. But everything else is pretty poor with VeriSign, technically speaking at least. So no moves over 10% in the last 2 years. Good narrative intel are interesting at least. Internet infrastructure monopoly compounder, pricing power and renewal rates are the metrics here. Consistent beat candidate. So apparently VRSN consistently beats, but it does have a typical low move. Let's see, the strangles that we're picking up. We have the 340 call, which is way too far out of the money, right? It's 25% out of the money up. This contract price is cheap. It's 50 cents or $50 for one contract. More volume over open interest. This to me, the 340 call looks sold. The 260p, almost about the same amount of volume as open interest. Much pricier per contract, right? They're closer to the money, so they're going to be a little pricier. I would say these are probably bought if I had to guess. And the low volume probably tells me that these are just VRSN shareholders hedging for earnings. I don't think this looks like a earnings traders or anything like that. So I think VRSN is a good fade, but keep an eye out on potential downside there. I just don't think it gets crazy. Ameriprise Financial, I kind of want to skip some of these boring ones like the finance stocks, the bank stuff. I don't like that. I also want to make sure that my chat is working in case maybe no one cares. So I don't know why the chat is not working, but I'll figure it out. We'll work on it at some point. Settings, output stream, ignore stream, advanced, sources. Yeah, I don't know. This one might be a lost cause for today. No. Okay. Anyways, next one we'll look at Newmont, just because it's not a bank, but it's more gold, basic materials. So Newmont, world's largest gold miner, bought Goldcore in 2019, which made it the biggest one. Good share price, almost $110 a share. Pretty bad EL score. Probably has to do with the moves. So only 2 moves over 10% in the last 8 quarters, which actually it's not terrible. Anytime something has proven it can move 10%. So like URI, for example, URI had 1 quarter out of the last 8 where it made a 10% plus move. And that's not indicative of a must play, but the fact that it can make, or it has done in the past, means that there is a potential, albeit slight, in the future. So Newmont has done it twice, but just not consistently. Good narrative intel. We got hot narrative here. Yeah, this is the largest gold miner. Gold is at all-time highs. Direct margin tailwind. Apparently bushfire impacts. So I mean, I don't know. I kind of like the fact gold was on that weird parabolic run not too long ago, and Newmont obviously was mining gold that was being bought and sold. So I would imagine they probably had a pretty successful mining quarter. I just don't know too much about gold and metals and that kind of thing. Call that we're finding, so the 120 call, 10% out of the money, or almost 10% out of the money. Pretty cheap though. 100p, almost 9% out of the money down, also pretty cheap. This looks like a fade. I don't really expect or anticipate a giant or crazy movement from Newmont. and nothing on the strangles that at least the website is reflecting, doesn't really scream anything. So we'll fade that. Let's look at DLR. I'm kind of interested in DLR because it's real estate centered. Are they real estate? Digital real estate. We want to lean for a cloud and carrier neutral data centers. Okay, so no, they're more data center. I don't know why I thought they were real estate. But yeah, data center, Digital Realty operates 300 properties and 57. So okay, so they own properties that have data centers, carrier neutral data centers on them. So interesting. 199 a share, so almost 200 a share. $20 move in either direction, so either 220 or 170. No moves over 10% in the last 2 years. Don't like that. Good narrative intel though, so it's got hot narrative torque, data center REITs, co-location, AI infrastructure, hyperscaler leasing. All that is bullish in regards of, or in terms of data center buildouts. It's the best AI infrastructure real estate print of this week. Signed lease volume is the metric. If pricing per kilowatt accelerating, then re-rates the entire data center REIT sector. Typical move 4 to 7%. That kind of tells me, well, I mean, nothing on the strangles is popping out to me. But honestly, like if DLR has good earnings, everything that's data center adjacent is just going to keep moving up, which makes sense, right? Like URI all-time highs, that should keep pushing. It should hit, I don't know if it's hit 1,000 yet today, but it should hit 1,000 minimum. So anything that's at an all-time high is going to keep on continuing, unless it's car apparently. But usually trends in motion stay in motion. So DLR, the strangles, the 222.50 call, 12% out of the money, really cheap. Expiring tomorrow. 187.50p, also very cheap. About the exact same volume as open interest. Nothing really stands out about these strangles to me. They're kind of too cheap to look like any serious positions. So I'll probably fade, but I do like the fact that DLR is a really big. It's the biggest AI infrastructure real estate print of this week. So maybe we will look at this in unusual whales a little later, but I think right now it looks like a fade. We're going to fade Hartford Financial. I can't stand finance stocks. Baker Hughes, we'll look at Baker Hughes. Oil field services and equipment and industrial and energy technology. So oil, which has also been parabolics, similar to gold and basic materials, but has kind of cooled off. 65, I don't know, I think my allergies are acting up. $65 a share. So you're looking at a $6 move or a $5 move, $6.50 move in either direction. So 71 or maybe below 58-ish. 1 quarter, it's made a 10% move out of the last 2 years. So not awful, but also not really good or great. Good narrative intel. We got a hot narrative theme here with oil field services, energy tech, LNG, which I like, industrial AI. Chart acquisition, integration, timeline, and IET backlog are the re-rate catalysts here. LNG plus AI data center power is the secular thesis. Revenue decline is mix shift, not demand. Typical move, almost 7%. Interesting. 65 calls, the one popping up. Lots of volume. Also lots of open interest. So traders have definitely been anticipating Baker earnings, and they are buying the 65 call, it looks like. I feel pretty safe saying they're buying that. 60p. More volume over open interest. It's not, so this is interesting because it is a cheaper contract, which I always, the first thing I think of when I see a cheap contract like that is they're probably sold, but it's not more than 10% out of the money down. So this is interesting. I don't know if these are bought along with the 65 call. It almost seems like traders had 65 call because there's a lot of open interest. So it almost seems like they had 65 call open. Then the day of earnings, they came in and maybe bought 60p to strangle, or maybe they're selling the 60p. I'm not quite sure. But definitely interesting. And the chart is kind of interesting too. If this pops up, this is only a 90-day, but if this pops up over previous resistance, maybe this has some weird legs to it. What's the float? It's got a huge float, so I'll probably fade it. If it had a smaller float, I'd look into it a little bit more. But I don't like the fact that it's got almost 1 billion shares in its float. So Baker, I would say probably up, but I would fade it just because of that big float. Let's look at SES. Really, 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 really cheap. Actually, let's not look at it. Really, really cheap. $1.22. Anytime a stock is less than like $3, it should be making consistent 10% moves every quarter. The fact that this one has only done three 10% moves in the last 2 years just kind of like throws out a red flag to me. But there's a big expected move for this quarter, so we'll look at it really quick. Narrative Intel, binary, so I don't like the caution sign, never good. No guidance re-rate here. Milestone-driven binary partnership update or technical progress is a potential gap. If they have a delay, then potential drop. Size or total loss or skip. So yeah, I think we skip this one. Don't like anything in the strangles. So yeah, we'll skip big SES. It looks like a good fade. Intel. Let's get into Intel. I don't like Intel at all. So obviously everyone knows Intel, leading chip makers, so semiconductors, microprocessors, and that kind of thing. Not the best share price, right? 67 a share, so you're looking at a $6 move in either direction if it hits 10%. Bad EL score. We'll look at what drives that bad EL score number in a second. Part of it has to do with the fact that Intel does not make consistent 10% moves on earnings. So it has only made a 10% move twice in the last 2 years. Don't like that. Gonna have to convince ourselves to trade it now. Narrative Intel is good on Intel. Obviously, semiconductors are hot. Looks like they have their own individual CPUs, whatever Panther Lake is. I don't know if that's a CPU or if that's an area. But it seems like, yeah, server CPU lead times extended to 6 months, prices rising. So, I mean, all the fundamentals look pretty bullish. EPS beat, so last quarter EPS was 15 cents per share. It beat the 4-cent expected EPS by 275%. So numbers really last quarter were really bullish. Looks like, yeah, biggest PM print of the week. 18A yield commentary and foundry order pipeline are the re-rate catalysts. Quarter 2 guide is the binary. It typically moves 8 to 12%. But keep in mind, only 2 quarters in the last 8 quarters, it has made a 10% move. Strangles that we're finding for Intel, we have the 70 call, tons of volume over open interest, tons and tons. And that's close to the money. It's only 5% away. They do expire tomorrow, but $1.97 a contract. I would say these are probably all bought, or most of them are probably bought, I should say. The 60p is the put side that's being paired with it. Tons of volume again, even more volume than the call side, more volume over open interest, cheaper contracts. I mean, nothing, I don't know. I would say, like, if you had conviction on Intel and you wanted to trade it before the stream, then trade it. Don't let me talk you out of it. I'm not going to trade it, and I'll tell you the reasons why, and you can make your own decisions, but IV is way too high on both of these. This is the highest IV percentage we've seen since we've started looking at stocks for this afternoon. That's a little too crazy for me personally. And I just don't, it's not a high yield scored stock, right? It's a 7. It's only done 10% move twice in the last 2 years. Granted, if you do go the 70 call is not 10% out of the money. The 60p is. So if it doesn't hit 60 and you have puts, you're kind of screwed there in Intel. The other reason I'm not going to trade Intel is because of this float. Look at this float. 4.2 billion shares. That's huge. That's actually massive. So I'll be fading Intel. I don't think it. To me, it might move. If it moves, great. I don't have FOMO over things because I'm pretty confident or pretty comfortable in the decisions that I make trading wise. And if it goes crazy tomorrow, I will congratulate you guys. I will just be fading it for sure. SAP. Let's look at SAP. World's largest provider of enterprise application software, known as the leader in enterprise resource planning software. They do a lot of supply chain software, procurement, travel, and expense management, that kind of thing. Good share price for SAP. Got $164 a share. That's a $16 move either way. One move over 10% in the last 2 years. Not great, but also not terrible because it's done it at least once. That was URI's theme yesterday. It had done it at least once in the last 2 years. Looks like there's pretty good fundamental numbers with SAP. We have a hot narrative torque, which is always good. Enterprise cloud migration bellwether. Cloud ARR growth rate is the metric here. Read through for Oracle and CRM on enterprise software spending. Typically moves about 5%. I will say that I have seen a ton of Oracle flow in the past 2 or 3 days. So that could be in sympathy of SAP. I kind of like trading Oracle or CRM as a sympathy instead of trading SAP. SAP float is massive. As you can see, it's 1.1 billion shares. Oracle float's big too. The CRM float is not that big. We can look at it actually. We'll look at it because I'm kind of curious. CRM float. Okay, so this CRM float's actually like almost a billion too. But if I had to pick out of the two, Oracle or CRM, I'd probably pick CRM to do a sympathy because you can see Oracle float is 1.7 bill. So I think I like the CRM sympathy play here, but let's look at the strangles. And this is crazy. This is going to definitely warrant looking into unusual whales on this because the 175 call has a ton of volume over open interest. That to me shows earnings immediacy, earnings anticipation traders. 150p is also popping up here, very cheap. I would say the 175 call to me looks like it's bought just because of that price, 255. And the 150p looks like it's probably a mix, but that's a ton of volume. Oh, shoot. That's a ton of volume. 5,845 contracts over 77 that were sitting there. So I think this warrants looking into a little bit more. So let's do that once we do the Friday names, and we have more than enough time today. But I am dying from allergies or something. So give me one quick second, and then we'll check out Charter because I'm kind of looking forward to Charter. I think Charter's going to be a good one. Even though sometimes it has a tendency to kind of not do well. But let's look at it. So Charter, product of the 2016 merger, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so Charter was the product of, I guess, yeah, when Legacy Charter, Time Warner, and Bright House all merged together. So they're like a big like communication services company doing like internet service provider, cable, yeah, a little bit of mobile stuff. Good share price, $244 a share. So maybe like a $24-$25 move either way. So maybe like a 265 call or like 220p. Decent expected move. Nice EL score. It's over 60, which I like. 4 quarters out of the last 8, it's made a 10% move. So pretty good. Half the time it makes a 10% move. You can flip a coin on this one. Narrative intel is good. I like the sleeper re-rates. Looks like actually looks like fundamentals are not are not all that strong. This is kind of the first one that I've seen where we have a negative year-over-year expected. Broadband net adds spectrum mobile lines with the growth metrics offsetting pay TV decline. Yeah, so I mean people are cord cutting, cable cutting, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, cable, broadband, spectrum, mobile. So cable, broadband, read, spectrum, mobile acceleration is the re-rate trigger. Typically moves 4 to 7%. Are people getting spectrum mobile? I don't know. Is that going to be is spectrum mobile going to be a competitor to AT&T and what's the other one? T-Mobile? T-Mus? I don't know. 290 call popping up, really cheap. Man, see this just like completely throws me off of the trade because I look at this and I don't even want to trade it. But we'll look at unusual whales. But right now off the bat, I would say this is a fade. The 290 call is popping up. This is too cheap. It's too far out of the money up. There's volume, but there's not a lot, and it doesn't exceed open interest. The 157.50, 35% out of the money down. It's $1.21. That was the last traded. It hit a low of 5 cents today. It's got about the same volume as open interest, but I don't know. This 157.50 side is either sold or these are just like really degenerate earnings traders. But yeah, good EL score. We got a pretty small float. We'll look at Charter. So Charter we're looking at SAP or SAP. I don't think I was going to look at anything else, right? MXL, do we want to look at unusual whales? Yeah, we'll look at MXL. Well, we will, just out of curiosity. All right, so Charter, hard to say. To me, it kind of looks like a chop. It looks like I think this 290 call is too ambitious. These are probably being sold. So if anything, maybe a small move down, or maybe it does hit a 10% move down. HCA Healthcare, Nashville-based healthcare provider, operating the largest collection of acute care hospitals in the United States. Interesting. So 477 per share. We have no moves over 10% in the last 2 years. Not an awful EL score, so probably low float. Oh yeah, the share price bumps it up. And we have a good expected move. So that's really the only thing that's kind of increasing the EL score. Good narrative intel, hot narrative intel for HCA Healthcare. It's the largest for-profit hospital, Medicaid commentary. Well, I didn't know that's the largest for-profit hospital, I guess, in the country. Interesting. Medicaid commentary is the sector defining risks. Sympathies are Tenet Healthcare, UHS, and CYH. CYH reported this week. I want to look at that in a second. Typically moves almost 7%. Really expensive contracts here. I don't think I would. Maybe we'll look at this in unusual whales just out of curiosity. But on a stock that has no moves over 10% in the last 2 years, I don't know if I would spend this much. Right, $7 per contract on the call side and $12 a contract on the put side. But if people are, then maybe they know something I don't, or they're HCA shareholders and they're buying very close to the money puts just to hedge their share position. But we'll look at it. Just I'm kind of curious. I don't know why it's standing out in my head a little bit. Procter and Gamble. This one's really bad on earnings. It kind of it pretty much always chops. Although it does have a good share price. No moves over 10% in the last 2 years. There is good narrative intel with Procter Gamble. Consumer staples bellwether. I mean, it's pretty much the biggest consumer staple stock in the country. Q3 guidance revision would be the catalyst for a new leg down. Typical move 3 to 5%. What was the Q3 guidance revision? Fiscal Q3 2026, fiscal quarter 2 showed declining margins. Management reaffirmed guidance and raised dividend. Estimate 1.56 on 20 organic. I don't know. I feel like that's priced in. I feel like this Q3 guidance revision would be priced in. But interesting. Interesting that's a binary event there. 146 call popping up, very close to the money here. $1.58 per contract was the last price traded there. Tons of volume over open interest, and that's the way to play something like Procter Gamble. You're at the money. It's a somewhat cheap contract, right? $1.58. So probably a good chance that a lot of these are bought. The 140p could go either way. Not more volume than open interest. The 140p could go either way, but if I had to bet, I would say the 146 is probably bought, and PG probably makes a small move up, would be my guess. Let's skip Colgate. All right, let's look at Western Union, because Western Union made a weird move. I don't know if it was last quarter or the quarter before, but it made like a crazy move and it continued for a couple of weeks. Bad EL score, bad share price, really cheap. One move over 10%. That was that one. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 quarters ago. It might have even been last quarter. I can't remember. Not a good narrative intel here. It's binary remittance, volume read, immigrant worker, economic stress versus digital mix shift is the tension here. Typically moves about 5%, which is, pretty accurate. And these contracts are way too cheap. There's a ton of open interest on the 10 call. So maybe that is the safer side here for Western Union, but way too cheap a stock. And we can find something else that's better to play other than Western Union for today. So with all that being said, now let's look at some flow. Let's look at, where do we want to do first? What was the CYH? That was the one healthcare stock, just while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, it reported Tuesday. Did it tank? It tanked. That's great. Well, I mean, it was a really cheap stock, but it tanked. So it's definitely down. And what was the HCA? What was the alignment with that? Sympathies are THC, UHS, and CYH. So maybe the put side is interesting here in HCA. Let's do this first. Let's look at the ones that are this afternoon, which are. Should we look at MXL? I guess we should look at MXL. DLR. Do we want to look at that one too? Let's do this. Let's look at MXL. See if anything stands out here. What were the ones that popped up? We had 38 and 32. So 38 is all bought. That's interesting. Like no, nothing on the bid at all there for the 38. The 32 also bought. Classic strangle, classic bot strangle. I mean, there's definitely more volume on the 32p and there's more money on the 32p. What are the in the money? Looks like they're selling the 25 call, which is bearish. Are they buying the 27? They're buying the 27p. Maybe this one's bearish. Maybe MXL is a down move. I don't know why the chat is disabled. Well, yeah, why is it disabled? Properties. Properties. Oh my God, OBS Studio is a free program for a reason. Sheesh. Settings. Stream destination YouTube. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I have no idea why it says that. I didn't do anything different this time, so I don't know. Preview importer studio mode. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe it's on. Maybe it's here. Oh, it is working. Is the chat working? Okay, it is. Why is I can't I can see it on my phone, but I can't see it on this. There's a reason this program is free. I tell you what. All right. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right, so yeah, if no one has any questions, let's do this. So yeah, I think MXL is interesting. I think maybe we should do a strangle in MXL. And then while let's go on to the next one while we're doing that, because we got like 26 minutes left. VRSN, I didn't care. I don't think we cared about that one. NAM, DLR, let's look at DLR. MXL. Nice thing about MXL is their monthlies. And it was the, was it the 38? It was the 38. The IV was high on these, I think, right? That would make sense. Yeah, it's high, but it's not 200% high like Intel. What's the put side on MXL? I think we said 27. Oh no, the 32. I think the puts look better for sure. Just based on the contract chart. Okay, I might do a 32. A 32p. Man, these I'm just destroyed. 32p and 40 call. $40 is so far away. All right, putting a pin in it, but I like the 32p for MXL. I like the put side way more for MXL than the call. DLR, let's see DLR. And what do we have for DLR? DLR, we got the 222.50 call and the 187.50 put. 222. What the heck? 222.50, a DLR. What? What the? Oh, yeah, that would make sense. 222.50. A lot of this is sold. I mean, that's just not a ton of volume. Unless $3,000 is what it's picking up. That's nothing. Yeah, I think we fade. I think this is a pretty safe fade. 4,800 bucks on the 215 call. But yeah, I don't know. All right, we'll done. I think DLR is a safe fade. Oh yeah, BKR. Didn't BKR have some weird? Was that the one with the weird? Yeah, 70 call. I don't know why it does this. Oh goodness, 70 call. Bullish for sure. Ton of money on the 70 call. Almost 300K on the 70 call. And then the 60p. They're buying this as a hedge. Maybe the maybe the BKR 70 calls are interesting. There's a lot of money on the 65 call too. Oh, is this at all-time highs? No. No, it is not. BKR. What is all? There's a ton of, yeah, I want to see what this. I was like, there's a ton of volume on the 65p. Holy, there's $1 million on the 65p. I think this might be like too much. Might be like looking into this too much. All right, I'm going to fade Baker. All right, so Baker fade. I mean, one move. Yeah, it's cheap. I don't care about it. Okay, Intel. I don't care about Intel. Does anyone care about Intel enough to look at it? Everything is, you could look at the flow in Intel, and you could use that to, I don't know, come up with your own. If you're bearish, you could look at the flow in Intel right now, and you could be like, yeah, the flow is bearish. If you're bullish, you could look at the flow in Intel and be like, yeah, the flow is bullish. It's going to look whichever way you want it to look. You just flip a coin, pick a side, or don't trade Intel would be my suggestion. Oh, SAP had all the volume. Yeah, the 175 call. Let's look at that one. But I think right now Max MXL is my favorite right now. 175 call. 175. 175 April. 175 call. Almost $1 million. This is weird. This is interesting. Look, it's like every, like from I mean, maybe this is a market maker just filling it weirdly, but from this afternoon, about like starting at 240 until still going now, there's like on the 175 call, it's like lots of 20 to 40 on the ask. 46, 39, 29, 17, 31, 40, 17. I mean, these are all like very similar. Maybe it's a market maker filling one order just in like many different lots. But interesting to say the least. You know what is also interesting too, just looking at SAP, like when I glance at this chain right now, there's one thing that stands out to me, like right off the bat, without even looking at like any of the individual, clicking into any of them. But if someone knows it, then you get a cookie. But look at the in the money contracts. So the in the money call contracts, look at those. So we got like no open interest in any of them. Almost none in any of the in the money calls, right? There's 55 contracts OI in the 160 call. But then look at the in the money puts. 2,000 volume over open interest for just today for the 170p. SAP looks bearish to me, if I had to guess. Is the 150 being bought? it's like a mix. So the 150p is like it's like, I would say this is your more affordable contract. I don't know if you want to spend, what was the 170p? The 170p is like $10 a contract. The 145p looks like it's being bought too. Yeah, the 145p got bought. Let's look at the SAP puts. Anytime I see like in the money calls or in the money puts, that's always that's a pretty good indicator. Do we tank tomorrow? Like, does the market just like gap down crazy tomorrow? The interesting thing about today, if you want to go on that theory of like the market's going to tank tomorrow, the interesting thing, Grace, what has no volume? SAP has no volume? Oh, you're guessing, yeah, no volume. You're right. No volume, no open interest on the in the monies. Yeah, 100% you're right. Look at that. No one's getting in the money calls for SAP, but they are buying in the money puts. My throat is bad. I'm gonna have to drink some tea after this. Let's look at the 145p. So SAP is one that you don't have to strangle. You don't have to strangle it because it doesn't make consistent 10% moves. Guys, do you want to buy a Lotto 145 put just to feel something? You want to buy Lotto 145p's? Let's do it. And then if someone's ballsy or yeah, if you're more ballsy than I am, then you can buy the 150p. Are they monthlies? No, they expire tomorrow. That's the thing. What if I do like the 147? I mean, the thing is, like, if the 145 works, the 147 works. If the 147 works, the 145 is going to work. What is the That's so funny. So there's a yearly SMA. My throat is so bad. There's a yearly SMA at 140-ish, like 142-ish. So maybe that's what people are thinking about. But why wouldn't you just buy a next week 145? Or, oh, because they're pricier. Okay, let's do 140. Let's do 145. It's so cheap. Fine, if you guys don't want to buy it, I'll buy it. Fish, they don't want to buy it. No one wants to buy Lotto puts with me. Let's just get... We'll get one. All right. I got a SAP puts. I don't want to strangle it because it's a low mover. It's a very low EL score. And usually, like for example, so URI yesterday, URI had one quarter where it moved 10%. And it was pretty easy to identify that based on the contracts that were showing on the website, at least. It was pretty easy to identify the fact that the calls were stronger there. So if I were to Lotto URI yesterday, it would have been with a call. And you would have done really well, obviously. Don't think it makes sense to strangle this. So I like the puts. I like SAP puts. What if the market just gaps down like crazy tomorrow? What would cause the market to gap down? I don't know. I don't really care. That's Fish. That's Fish the cat. He is my trading quant. He put together the website, actually. I just supported him. So yeah, SAP, let's go down. Let's look at Charter, just out of curiosity, because Charter was the one I wanted to trade this week, but when we looked at the strangles, nothing there looked good. I'll look at 255. Let's refresh this. I think it has weeklies. 255. Same kind of thing for Charter. Look at this. Same story as SAP. I mean, there's more. There's more in the money on open interest here, but Like you don't come in and buy 100 contracts of 247.50p on the day of earnings if you're not bearish, right? Like, are you gonna buy if you own, let's say you own ton of charter stock on the day of earnings? Are you gonna come in and, well, maybe actually, maybe you are gonna do that on earnings. Let's see. These are bought. 240p is bought. Those are expensive. $10 a contract. 205 put is bought for the most part. There's some on the bid. This is on the bid. This one right here on 420. 15K on the bid. Then traders came in today and put 19, almost 20K on the ask here today. These are probably sold, the 200s. Oh, no, they're bought. Most are bought. What about call side? What was the call? Call was 255. We got 12 minutes. 255. And it's kind of a mix. That's on the bid. That's on the bid. Those are smaller orders, though. Well, this, yeah. 9,000, 6,000. These are on the ask. 336K on the ask from 420 or 417. I think charter's a fade. I think I'm pretty comfortable in fading it. It just looks too uncertain for me. A lot of this is sold. I don't know. I would say charter is a fade, but I like the downside a little bit more. Let's see if anyone's anything. Ezzo. Yo, Ezzo is a beast. Ezzo, you're a beast. That's all I have to say. I think I'm gonna fade charter. Let's look at HCA. HCA. Because what did it say? It said COH was a sympathy, and that one tanked on its earnings. 515 contracts, expensive. Why is this the theme? Why is the theme that there's no in the money volume or open interest for any of these in the calls? SAP, Charter, HCA, all of the no one's buying in the money contracts for HCA on the call side. This is a mix, but that's all this is all bought. I mean, there's 800, almost 900K on the 480p for HCA, but some of it's on the bid. That's a 120K order on the bid. That's an 84K order on the bid. That's a 251 on the ask. I think this looks too uncertain too. Because look, they're buying close to the money calls for HCA. I think HCA is a good fade. Safe fade. Nothing else here, right? Yeah. Fish. What are you doing? Okay, so now, MXL. Let's look at MXL again. If we trade MXL, it's going to be a classic strangle. My liege. MXL. See? Look, MXL has in the money call contracts. See? The 20 call. 115K on the 20 call. MXL shareholders believe. They believe. MXL looks bullish to me. I mean, although there is a ton of... What are you doing? Stop. Come here. Cut it out. Yeah, MXL, I would say... Oh, man. 32p. The 32p just has so much money on the ask. this is sold, right? The 25 call we said was sold. The 20 call is a mix but bought. Maybe that's a call spread between the 20 and the 25. Maybe they're buying the 20 and selling the 25. The 30 is sold. The thing with the sold position though, it doesn't exactly or immediately mean that you should take the opposite. It kind of just means that this trader is expecting not a huge, like they don't need a big move down in order for this to work. Actually, what would be the best scenario for them is if MXL went to like 32 or 33. Like it was just a tiny move down, and that call seller is going to make money. What did the contract chart? Let's look at the contract charts again one more time for MXL. MXL, 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 MXL. They could do something crazy. They could pop MXL to 47 and let it run. Are there good price targets for MXL? Stop. 20, 28, 25, 25. What the? Sir? Hold, maintain, buy, hold, reiterated, blah, 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 hold, blah, blah. I think this looks down. I just don't know if I want to. It's so expensive. Not, I mean, like, not expensive in the fact that, like, it's $500 a contract, but for an earnings trade. Okay, so let's talk this through. So if you so it makes sense to pay up. It's not, the thing is, it's not like a 7. If it was a 7 or a 6 or a 7 mover, then I would pay up and do it, but it's only done at 5 quarters, which is pretty good. $27. The weekly RSI is pretty hot. Monthly is hot, but not super hot. It could go a little bit more. Let's look at because like 35, the 35 call is really what you want, but it's $400 a contract. I mean, that's what MOH was, but it's a more expensive stock, so it's got a little bit more runway. Something that's $33 a share doesn't have a ton of runway. But if you do trade it, you have to strangle it. I'm going to fade MXL. Right? Safe to fade? Safe to fade? There's no way the 47 call works, right? There's no way. It's going to work now, watch, because I said that. Someone spent $14K on the 47 call on the ask. Interesting. There's 17K on the 45. There's 150K on the 38. I think MXL looks up, and I think what they're doing is they're just hedging. They're buying these. They're buying the put side too. It's just a classic strangle, because there's not a lot of in the money put volume or open interest, but there is some, not a lot, but there is some on the call side. I think it's a move up. I just don't know if it goes. I don't know if it does this. I think you could get away with doing the. I think you could get away with the 37 and pairing it with the 27. Let's do it. 37. Because are these monthlies? Yes. Holy, someone just hit the 35 call for a lot. 600K. 600K on the ask, just hit the 35 calls. Literally, as soon as I said the 35 is what you want. Are you watching this stream? JK, probably not. All right, 37 call. MXL. MXL. Oh, we have 3 minutes. I'm gonna fade Intel for earnings pick'em too. I'm mad because Tesla didn't work. MXL got the call. Let's get the put. It's so funny. It's $10. It's what did I say? 27. I think I can get it at like $1.48, right? No, it didn't fill me yet. I have to pay more? I'm gonna get the 26p. I think the call side looks way better on MXL. So I'll roll the dice a little bit. All right, I got MXL. I got the MXL Strangle. I got the SAP 145p. And the MXL 26p. And the MXL 37 call. We like the call side more, so we're going to spend up a little bit more. And then do that. Oh, I still have other puts. Do I close those before tomorrow? Yes. Oh, it didn't close them. Bid, sell on the bid. I think we pop tomorrow for some reason. All right, I'm out. Those are my puts. All right, that's all I got today. Any other questions? It's 4 o'clock in like 10 seconds. Nope. All right. Good luck to everyone. If you took something that reports today or tomorrow morning, best of luck to you. Like I said, I have the MXL Strangle. I have the SAP Degen puts. I hope this is helpful for you. It certainly is helpful for my own trading because I get to talk all this out. I don't really get to talk about trading with people other than friends in Discord, but it's helpful for me. So hopefully it's helpful for you. If you have any suggestions for me, if you don't have a brokerage, if you're looking to get into trading and you're just watching these and thinking, yeah, well, that's cool. He's talking about a lot of good stocks. I wish I could trade those. Please join our Discord. I'll put a link for the Discord in the YouTube, in my YouTube bio or something. Or if you found this via X or Twitter, I'll share the Discord link there. But please jump in our Discord. We have many, many, many very, very talented and experienced traders who are more than happy to help you set up your own brokerage account, give you tips, think or swim, scripts, anything you want, studies. So I will share that on Twitter later today, but no stream tomorrow because there are no stocks reporting on Monday morning, or probably none that we care about. Let's look at it actually just out of curiosity. I will put out the I'll put out the earnings calendar for next week. I will do that tomorrow. This is what we got next week. Lots of, so the only ones really for Monday morning are Domino's and Verizon, which I don't really care about. But there are some interesting ones on Monday afternoon. So yeah, I'll do a stream on Monday afternoon because I like Celestica. And some of these are interesting as well. Actually, really just Celestica for that. But yeah, I will be seeing you guys Monday afternoon, 3 p.m. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope you make lots of money tomorrow and have a great weekend. Peace, everybody.